And thanks for joining us for this special edition of Weekend Winners. We are on the eve of ID23. This is the first time the Inter Dominion has returned to the Sunshine State since 2009. The first time the series has been held at Albion Park since 2001. And back in 2001, we had the Pacers and the Trotters. It was the Kiwis that came, saw and conquered. Ulster taking the pacing final and take a moment taking the trotting final. Who's going to come out on top in 2023? Well, hopefully in this edition of Weekend Winners, we can steer you into a winner or two and hopefully come up with the grand final winners. We've got a lot to look forward to. The series starts Friday night. 7 heats, 4 for the Pacers, 3 for the Trotters. We're over the mile distance. On Tuesday night, we return to Albion Park, this time over the middle distance journey of 2,138 metres. Next Saturday night, we're over the grand final distance, 2,600 metres, and the grand final will take place on Saturday, December 16 at Albion Park over that 2,600 metre journey for both the Pacers and the Trotters. A lot to look forward to. Thirsty Merc performing on grand finals night as well. Here to help us find a winner or two, we've got Darren, Clayton and Ryan Spice. Darren, firstly, welcome along. Inter Dominion, it's always special, there's no doubt about it. Have you got a special highlight from your memory bank for this series?
Yeah, I've got a few. You know, it's a great race. I've lucky enough to go to quite a few of them. Two of the ones that really stick out for me, 1997, Rainbow Night, almost getting to our Savant slot. Still, I'd love to see a developed print of that. I'm sure Rainbow Night got there. And the other one being Proud Bathurst Lad, Smooth Satin 2002 at Harold Park. That was a great night, plenty of excitement there. And the other one, the last one at the Valley 2008, Blackie. I was there that night as well, and that was a super night.
Okay, Ryan, what about you? Inter Dominion, you've got to have a highlight or two.
Yeah, it's a series I love the most, Chris. Probably two highlights for me. I love Shaker Maker's win, just rocketing down the outside, and you know, I always love a horse that can come from last and prevail. But I think the pinnacle for me is Blackie 2010, 3 deep the last 1,000 at Menangle, out-toughed him. Monkey King had the cold shot, couldn't get him. That was Inter Dominion glory for me.
Okay, we've got clear favourites for both series here for the Pacers and the Trotters. The local star Leap to Fame in the pacing series, reigning champ in the trotting series, Just Believe. Are you with both at this stage?
I'm certainly clearly with Just Believe. I think this series is perfect and he's an absolutely worthy favourite. My heart says Leap to Fame, but my betting hat on at the early current price for the series, I'd have to back Swayze over him.
Okay, what about you, Darren?
Yeah, Just Believe. It's hard to look past him with what his trip to Scandinavia, his back, that first up run. He's just going to be getting better as this series progresses. Leap to Fame, I think he gets it done. I think this time around, I've said previously, I think he would have got him in the Blacks are Fake without that wheel issue, and you know, it's all a matter of opinions, and that's my opinion, and I think he'll do the job this time.
Okay, well they are the favourites right now. Leap to Fame for the pacing series, Just Believe for the trotting series. Don't forget, we've got first 4 jackpots on all of the heats coming through on Friday night. So those projected pools, $50,000 for each heat. And don't forget the bonus bet back offer as well, up to $50. If your horse runs second across all nights of the series, you will get your money back. So make sure you check that out with Tab as well. So we've got a lot to get through and we look forward to discussing heat number 1. Race number 2 on Friday night at Albion Park. This is heat 1 of the series, and we start with the Trotters, and we start with a big clash here between the two Victorians, Mufasa Metro and Olivici. They are clearly at the head of the betting as far as this heat is concerned, and you're either in one corner or the other. Mufasa Metro gets the early advantage, barrier 1, Olivici drawn in 3. Darren, I'll come to you firstly. Does it look a two-horse race here between these two Victorians?
Yeah, I think it certainly does, especially the way they come into this series. Clearly the class of the race. I think Constantinople, probably a little bit of a question mark just of what he can produce. He steps up to this elite level, but Olivici, Mufasa Metro, they're shown at this level. They can handle it. Just interesting early what actually happens. We know Mufasa Metro, super beginner. He has released the front at his past couple. Probably the last time didn't really release. He got pressured into releasing, and don't think he, in an ideal situation, John Justice probably would have liked him to have held the front, but he ended up in the trail, and it was a really good run. But I think it's Olivici and Mufasa Metro certainly having a good look at each other early on.
Okay, Ryan, do you think the Victorians hold the key to this heat?
Yeah, absolutely. They will dominate this race from the front end.
All right, let's go back to last Saturday night at Albion Park. My Alderman
Eddie was able to take out this race. He lines up. He's the only Q-bred trotter in this field, guys, and here he is peeling off the back of Tamo Shanter, and he's able to go on for a very good victory. Rewarding because he's been so consistent of late. So this is a big thrill for Mark Rees, Darren, because at the start of the year, he'd never trained a trotter. Here he is in ID23 with not just one trotter, my ultimate Eddie, the only Q-bred trotter, but he's also got Call Me Trouble as well.
Yeah, and my ultimate Eddie, he's been super consistent, just hasn't been sort of getting a win on the board, but he's been placing in this level here in Queensland, and that was just reward there last week. And he's a really good follower of tempo, so if he gets the right position and doesn't have to spend a penny, he can certainly run on and gain really good points in this heat. So, you know, he can tuck in just behind there, likely probably 1-1, maybe, you know, thereabouts, close enough, and with the tempo going to be strong at the front, that sort of suits him. Out of that race too, we see a few of the others that'll go around in this series. You know, all credit to my Alderman Eddie out of that race we saw there.
All right, so are you with Mufasa Metro or are you going with Olivici?
I'm going with Olivici, so I think he can bully his way to the front. If he doesn't get to the front, I think he can sit outside Mufasa Metro and beat him fair and square. So either scenario, I think he gets to the front. Under that scenario, Mufasa Metro will get the last shot at him, but I think he gets to the front. Constantinople probably has to chair up, because outside of those, maybe Van Sank has an early look. He does have good early speed, but yeah, that's how I'm heading.
All right, so you're in the corner of Olivici. Ryan, do you agree with that?
Do you think they'll be keen to hold with Mufasa Metro, given it is a mile? In Constantinople, he's looked so good winning in Sydney, and he comes into this series fresh, but he won a trial last week by a huge margin. Do you give him any sort of hope?
Not from his barrier draw for Constantinople. I think that hurts him significantly, and he's not blessed with super early speed. Back to the two big guns, I think this is the perfect setup for Mufasa Metro. Barrier 1, mile, he's a gate speed horse. He'll be leading, he'll be holding. John Justice won't be handing to Olivici, in my opinion, if he can prevent it. And I think he's one of the better bets on the card.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you as well. I like Mufasa Metro. Drawn to lead, drawn to win for mine. I'll give you a
Stat, Darren, they've raced 9 times these horses, Mufasa Metro, Olivici. 5 times Olivici has beaten home Mufasa Metro. So 5-4. So there you go. You're with Olivici.
Yeah, advantage me by the look of that.
So you're going 3-1-5-2, Ryan going with 1, 3, 6 and 8. My number's in full there, 1, 3, 6 and 5. So that is heat 1 for the Trotters coming through on Friday night. Round 1, heat 1 for the Pacers comes up as race 3 on Friday night. Rock and Roll Do steps out here for Victoria. Michael Stanley, his trainer-driver, coming up against the local star, the emerging star in Future Assured. And they're clearly at the top of the betting, these two horses. Future Assured, he's got gate 5. Rock and Roll Do must overcome the outside of the front line, gate number 7. So Darren, as I come to you here, map-wise, have you got both of these horses going forward?
Yeah, I think they both roll forward. I think Future Assured will need to hold that early advantage. He's drawn inside Rock and Roll Do. If he holds that early advantage, Trent Dawson is in the box seat then. I think he can either let Rock and Roll Do go, which is not Trent's style, but he does have that option to maximise his points. I think he parks Rock and Roll Do out and tries to beat him. Future Assured, he's a miler at his best, in my opinion, and this is his bread and butter right here in the series to get his maximum points. Started a 4-run win streak with a sub 51 mile, rounded that out with a Be Good Johnny win. Luckless in the Queensland Cup, draw and leap to fame off the front end was against him, so this is his chance to maximise his points.
Okay, he's been best backed as well, Future Assured, for this opening round of heats for the Pacers here on Friday night. We'll go back and look at the replay of Future Assured at his most recent start. Here he is chasing home Leap to Fame in the Queensland Cup. But Ryan, as I come to you, Darren makes a really good point. He's fresh, a number of weeks between runs. He's a great fresh horse. He's a great short course horse. So if he's going to strike early, this is his best opportunity.
Absolutely, Chris. He would never get a better opportunity to win a Inter Dominion heat. It's the mile. He's avoided Leap to Fame and Swayze. He's got a front row draw. Trent Dawson can use his brilliant speed. put him on the front end, make Rock and Roll Do pretty much chase the entire trip. They went up $3 plus. I think he's at his right price now as a clear favourite. I think he's the horse to beat here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think this is
Just tailor-made for him on Friday night, coming up with his good draw. He ended up running sixth there in that replay we just watched in the Queensland Cup. But given that the time that they ran in that race, he couldn't have done any more because they went track record speed there, 51.7 for the 2138. So he's dropping back to his preferred trip of a mile. So you're with the local, Future Assured?
Yeah, I'm with him, and purely map differential. Rock and Roll Do, gate 7, he's going to have to do it hard, and it's the visitors draw first up. He's clearly the class runner, but Future Assured, he's on the up, 4-year-old. He's certainly progressed really well this latest campaign after a winter run. So take that run out from the Queensland Cup where he did all the work and was still holding horses back in the pack. They didn't get past him either. There was only a few that really ran on out of that race.
Michael Stanley, we had him on radio during the week. He was talking tough. I don't think he's going to take a backward step here despite the wide draw.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of times you spoke with him, Chris, and then I heard him again yesterday mention that, you know, he's here to win it and he's here to go forward, and he knows he's got a really strong chance right through the series, not just in this heat. So, yeah, it's going to be a great race.
Okay, Ryan, a horse in this race that is creating a little bit of interest, Spirit of St. Louis. They were talking about going to New Zealand. Those plans were derailed. He's had a little bit of a blood disorder. He's been kept fresh, and he's got to overcome gate number 8 here. Do you give him any sort of knockout chance?
Oh, absolutely. He's the only other, I think, potential winning hope. Interesting, he's over a month between runs. We haven't seen him back to the trials. Very tricky draw here. Barrier 8, inside back row. Targaryen is not really blessed with super early speed, but I do notice Luke McCarthy's now taking the drive. And then immediately to his outside, he's got Kanina Problema. Jake Hale has to make a big choice here, whether he commits to staying pegs and pushing through and hoping to get a split and therefore finish top 4 and earn some points. Or if he is going to, I think he has to commit one way or the other. If he's going to ease out, he probably doesn't need to jam right up and try to look to get off early, and maybe he and Kanina Problema can kind of switch places. Very tricky, but he's a wonderful horse, Spirit of St. Louis, and over the mile trip, he's finished top 3, 18 of his 20 starts.
Okay, so you're going with Future Assured?
Certainly am.
Okay. Future Assured for Ryan. Are you with Future Assured as well, Darren?
Yeah, I think they're the big three, and I think that's how they'll finish. Future Assured, Rock and Roll Do, Spirit of St. Louis, and I think Kanina Problema, going off what Ryan said, I think they will swap positions early, or even if they don't, Kanina Problema can go down to the fence and sneak through.
Okay, I'm going with Future Assured, the local as well, 5, 7, 6 and 8. I'm putting the local mare in as a value place hope there. Uptown and Beach Girl, one of only 2 mares in this series. Last time we had a series here in 2001, we had a mare qualify for that final, Lombo Repeater. And just a little side note as well, means nothing, but back in 2001, opening night heats, over a mile, no favourite successful. Holmes DG beaten as an odds-on favourite, C New York beaten as favourite, Shaker Maker beaten as favourite. We've got a lot of favourites here, very short price favourites, so it'll be interesting to see if the tide turns. So that is Heat 1 for the Pacers Friday night. Round 1, Heat 2 for the Pacers comes up as race number 4 on Friday night at Albion Park, and it's the Victorian that is the favourite, Better Eclipse, Jess Tubbs, Greg Sugars, and he strikes a very winnable heat, and as a result, punters are getting around him. But there's a number of locals that are also well drawn here and looking to be a bit of a threat and sort of gain maximum points so they can force their way into the grand final on December 16. How did you analyse this heat when you first laid eyes on it, Darren?
Yeah, well, I think firstly, my eyes went straight to Captain Shuffle's gate speed horse there in gate number 2. Better Eclipse, he's an interesting runner in that he came to Albion Park last year as a 4-year-old, second in the Rising Sun. They then gave him a shot in the Sunshine Sprint, and he came out and was successful off a good trip there. So here we see him in a mile again. That Sunshine Sprint, arguably a lot stronger than what he meets in this heat. So he's one of those horses, you look through his record, he's won nearly $1 million now. He's up around the $800,000 mark, and he just seems to always be under the radar. He's not one that, you turn around and he's in your first sort of train of thought or conversation. So he's a bit of a sleeper there out in gate 5. Not sure where he maps, especially with Captain Shuffles drawn to his inside, but better zip it. Then in 6, you look at him and what he's done. I'm sort of can't really make a case for him. Classy Washington, he's going to get a perfect trip in gate 1. Does have good gate speed, so he should be able to hold the pocket trip. So that is, of course, after his run last week, provided he hasn't got too big a headache. I got a headache just watching how hard he got hammered in front, and he fought on and won. So full kudos to him out of that run.
Ryan, one of the key runners in this heat is Better Zip It. He won the Nullarbor back earlier this year in Perth, $1 million race. Hasn't won a race since, but he looked really sharp in his most recent trials. So how does he sort of fit into this heat?
I really don't know, Chris. First up since the Queensland Winter Carnival. He's actually one of 5 horses that come into the pacing series off a significant gap between runs. His gate speed's okay. He's certainly not crossing them. I do think Cam Hart, though, will probably balance up at the start and then continue to press forward. And he actually might work to the breeze and give Better Eclipse the 1-1 cover.
Okay, well, let's take a look back at last Saturday night. Classy Washington. Darren just referenced this race. Classy Washington, Big Skewy. They were going at one another a long way from home. Neither horse taking a backward step, and they took it right to the line. And there were some pretty handy horses struggling a long way out here. Time was awesome. Classy Washington got there by a head margin. That race was over 2,138 metres, so he comes back to the mile here on Friday night. The big question mark with Classy Washington, how does he bounce out of that race last Saturday night, and how does he line up here? So barrier 1 gives him every opportunity to gain some maximum points. So Ryan, who are you going to select to win this heat? Are you with Better Eclipse and Clearly?
No, not clearly. I'm certainly with Better Eclipse. They opened 260. I thought that was a great price. Into odds on now. Maybe that's a touch of unders. Maybe his true price is sort of around even money. I think he's a logical top pick, but I certainly think Classy Washington, from the perfect draw, is going to get every opportunity to stalk the speed, run top 3. I think if there's going to be a blowout in a heat, I think this is it.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair as well. Here's an interesting point for you, Darren. You love a stat. Jason Grimson's trained the last 2 Inter Dominion winners. He's never won an Inter Dominion heat. He's got Better Zip It lining up here, and he's got the very short price favourite last start New Zealand Cup winner, Swayze, going around later as well. So, Better Zip It, do you give him a winning hope here?
Well, if Jason's hearing that stat, I'm thinking he'd be wanting to keep that stat going, because while it'd be great to win a heat, I think the final's the sweeter fish, that's for sure. But yeah, I can't get warm about Better Zip It at all. I think he come to Queensland in the winter. He got second in a Redcliffe Cup behind Loyalists. So yeah, I think he does go around and sits outside them at some point. But yeah, I can't be with him. I think Captain Shuffles will run a big mile. You know, map really in his favour here. He can get out and really push the button and test them. He's got a PB of 51.3, and if he can run anything near that, he's going to be right in the finish.
Okay, so you're giving the Queenslander a really good chance, but you are tipping Better Eclipse.
Yeah, Better Eclipse on top. I think Captain Shuffles gets his chance to create an upset.
All right, I'm going 5, 1, 2 and 4. I'm putting in one of the other locals, LL Cool J. Ryan, you might be cheering on this one here, LL Cool J. Hopefully he can earn some good points on the opening night. So that is race 4. That is heat number 2 for the Pacers. Round 1, Heat 3 features the series favourite for the pacing division, and that's Leap to Fame, the local hero. As it stands, only one Queensland-trained horse has won an Inter Dominion, and that's the mighty champion Blacks Are Fake. He won it a record 4 times, contested 6 finals, he was placed in the other 2. So can Leap to Fame become the second Queensland-trained winner of an Inter Dominion? He is going to be very hard to beat in the series, and he is going to start at a very short quote here on Friday night.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's off the back of a few things, just how good he is. The heat he comes up against, where he's drawn, he can press forward here and take control of this. And yeah, it's all in his favour for this first heat, that's for sure. It doesn't really look to be anything there that can go too much against him.
I tell you one thing that stood out with this heat, the speed drawn to his inside. They're going to go hard because they're going to jostle for that position to find the back of Leap to Fame, because I think eventually he'll be in front. So you've got Deus Ex, who's very fast gate too, and this Victorian Helliver possesses very good gate speed, so they might go hard early here.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a good amount of gate speed, and he can certainly get across. But I think Deus Ex, what we've seen of him this campaign, he's been really good, and you know, this is the big time, the big step up for him. But I think he can fire out. I think he can cross Make Mine Memphis, and he's the one then to let Larry, wave Larry on by and then sit in behind him and get top opportunity to get that second place.
All right, Ryan, would it be fair to say, away from Leap to Fame, it looks really wide away from Leap to Fame. So if you're playing the multiples here, you can go far and wide.
Yeah, I honestly think so. I've got a bit of a value place bet in this race. I think that's good shopping in the form of Narano. He's a horse that he's a bit hot and cold, but his best is excellent. 2 starts ago, gave Swayze 10 lengths at the cages down at Menangle. They went 52 over the 2300, and he ran him to about, home in 53, but ran him to about 10 metres. It was career best. Cam Hart jumps aboard. Jason Grimson's back in town. I think Narano, he's run 3rd in the Len Smith Mile. I think from a place point of view, he's good shopping.
Okay, Narano, the place hope there. Let's go back and have a look at Leap to Fame.
Just crush his rivals in the Queensland Cup. Here he is out in front, less than 400 metres to run, and now he's really starting to power up here, Leap to Fame. As I said earlier, this was a track record performance on the night, and the track was probably a little off as well, which just adds further merit to the performance here of Leap to Fame. 51.7 for 2,138 metres. I don't think the track record's in any sort of doubt here on Friday night. 49.2, depending on how hard they go early in this race, but he's clearly the horse to beat, and he looked like he was absolutely just in the zone there. So it's his series to lose for mine. So if we're going to be playing the exotics, and I think we have to, given how short Larry is going to start, what are we looking at?
Yeah, well, for me, I think Deus Ex is the one there that can pinch second. I think he's first to the pegs, and he was okay in that race as well. I've liked what he did. Similar sort of scenario a few runs back, fired out from gate 5, found the front, let go, and then held on for second. Similar position here he can achieve. I think Speak the Truth, it's interesting here, Speak the Truth and Can't Find a Better Man, 2 really good 4-year-olds, both probably didn't want Leap to Fame's heat, but they've both coming up against him fresh up. So I think they can run a top 3, and you could throw Narano in there for 3rd as well. But I'm playing Leap to Fame on top from 2, 6 and 9, 1, 2, 6 and 9. I think the fence will be the place to be.
All right, from a form point of view, Ryan, how do you sort of assess Can't Find a Better Man and Speak the Truth, given they are fresh up into this series?
I have really big opinions of both horses. I think this series might be the making of Can't Find a Better Man. He won the South East Queensland Derby when he beat Leap to Fame, just over 12 months ago. He's a really high-speed tactical horse. He kind of reminds me of a young Better Eclipse. He's sort of in that sort of mould. Speak the Truth, well, I'm probably against them both from the point of view of that they're first up here. Like, what do we expect? I'm not sure. Probably prefer to be with the race fit horses. I certainly think Deus Ex can be first to the peg line, and he'll hold Helliver quite easily. Release Leap to Fame, and that a few others will be fighting out the other place spots.
All right, well, I'm going to go with Leap to Fame,
obviously, but as far as the exotics, I'm going to put in the locals here. 2 Deus Ex, 1 Make Mine Memphis, he can sit on the peg line here, and even number 8 Senative, he's 3 or 4 back on the inside, and it's a blistering last half. He might just be able to pinch a minor prize there. I just find it interesting, like Narano's drawn outside of Leap to Fame, Can't Find a Better Man also drawn deep, and Black Sedans, who is the track record holder, he's out in 7. They're going to have to work at some point, aren't they?
Yeah, certainly are. And Black Sedans, like we didn't even mention him in any of that conversation, and here we are at a mile trip where he's the track record holder. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough night for him, and especially sort of looking deeper into the series as the distances step up. So, but he is the track record holder. Can find a gate.
All right, well that is heat number 3, and that's the heat that does feature the series favourite Leap to Fame. Looking forward to seeing him in action Friday night. Round 1, heat 4, and this is the final heat for the Pacers on Friday night, and this is the heat that features the Last Start New Zealand Cup winner, Swayze. Of course, remembering Swayze was able to lower the colours of Leap to Fame earlier this year at Albion Park in the Grand Circuit race. The Blacks are fake, so this is going to be very interesting. Darren, it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. It's back on again. So here he is lining up. There was confusion whether or not he was going to take his spot in the series, but he lines up and he draws gate 2, and he, like Leap to Fame, is at a very short quote. Is he past the post here?
Betting would say yes. Yeah. He's so short in the market. For me, if he's going to be vulnerable at any point in this series, this is the time it is. If he gets through this, easily enough, wins it, I think the others will have a big headache on their hands through to Saturday the 16th. But I think this is his chance if he is going to be vulnerable. The trip, he's not push-button speed out. It's a front line that's got plenty of speed to his outside, and there'll be, I think, in this heat, plenty wanting to have a really good look.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Let's look at the gate speed of Turn It Up. Arguably one of the fastest horses off the arm in Australian harness racing, and this is him leaving the gate. This is the drone footage coming out of the race earlier in the year, and he is just push button at the start. So, Ryan, as I come to you, do you agree with Darren that if he's going to be beaten, this is probably the heat, given that it is a mile and there's just that little bit of uncertainty about the whole series for him, or do you think he's a lock?
I think I agree with the situation that this is the potential that he gets potentially is rolled. I think the sort of that $1.10-ish price is pretty sure. You know, maybe history price is more around $1.40, $1.50. Lots of gate speed here. Manila Playboy is going to be trying his best to push forward and hold up and get the back of Turn It Up. Hot and Treacherous is going to come out all guns blazing to try to get over, and Mr. McLaren, well, he's lightning as well. So, but every time I think, oh, maybe Turn It Up won't get over, Bush, over he goes. He is just so quick. So that's one thing I am confident in. Turn It Up is in front after about 200 metres. What happens next? Does Swayze make a mid-race move and basically press on at the bell? I think that's on the cards, and if that does happen, well then the real short quote will be justified.
Okay. Now, Darren, you go back to that Blacks Are Fake race that he won earlier this year, beating Leap to Fame. Turn It Up was able to spear out lead and then release Swayze. That was 2,600 metres. It's a mile here. We all know that Turn It Up is going to lead this race. There's no question about that. He's super fast. Given the fact that Jason Grimson hasn't trained a heat winner, but this guy's unbeaten for him, 9 starts now, 9 victories. Does he want to keep that momentum going with Swayze, or does he just keep the eyes on the big prize like he has for the last 2 years? Call me crazy, but I think Turn It Up, if he's ever going to do anything, this is his perfect opportunity. Number of weeks between runs, he loves to be fresh, he loves the mile, and sectionally, he was the best performer out of that Queensland Cup chasing home Leap to Fame. His last mile was just off the chart. So I think if they spear out and lead, I think they hold and try and take it all the way.
Yeah, well, that's certainly on the cards. And I think going back to that drone footage, if you had where he's come across, he had Hot and Treacherous to his inside. He was at length in front of him as the gate released. So, and then Future Assured, who we're thinking is going to lead the first heat from gate 5, he was straight across in front of him as well. That's Future Assured down in gate 1. So, Turn It Up, he didn't even have the left-hand blinker on there. He's just like a Queensland driver. He changed lanes with no blinker. So, I think he gets across easily. I think Shane will probably opt for cover. But like you say, this is his chance to really push it out. I think Swayze probably eventually gets there. If he doesn't, going back to your Jason Grimson piece, does he want to preserve the horse right the way through the series? Well, he doesn't want to give him a gut buster here. Interestingly, 9 starts, 9 wins since he's joined the Grimson stable. 8 of those have not been at the mile. His very first win, he took him out to Bathurst, 1,700 trip, won that. Since then, hasn't been over the mile.
It's interesting here with Swayze.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. From a betting perspective, can't dive into that price.
Yeah.
The 2 things I'm sure about is Turn It Up gets over and he finds the fence. Middle Playboy's already got barrier 1, so he's going to get a peg strip. So those 2 horses, the place, that's my betting angle.
Okay. Well, that is heat number 4. That's the final heat for the Pacers, and it features Swayze, and there's so many question marks surrounding Swayze with this heat on Friday night. But I think Turn It Up, the local, might be a chance of just pegging one back on Swayze. We'll wait and see that heat coming through Friday night. Okay, the Trotters now. This is round 1, heat 2, and this is the heat that features this brilliant Victorian mare, Queen Elida. She comes up with a good draw for trainer Brent Lilly. Chris Alford coming up to partner this star mare, and she is going to be at a very short quote. Darren, was it easy trying to map this race with her coming up with that nice front row draw?
Yeah, I think you'd just have to respect her enough that map-wise she works her way to the front. She's all class. Take nothing away from that last start. It was just believed that she didn't quite be able to get over the top of. So you factor that run in. It's really good. I think she gets to the front, and I don't think anyone probably really wants to sit outside her in the early stages, I think she might just be getting away with a nice soft trip in front here. We know Hatchback's quick out, but I think Sugar and Spice has got enough early speed that he'll want Queen Elida in front, not Hatchback. So that sort of sets up there. And Adele, I just think they might be a little bit more conservative round one. I know it's the mile, but I think this is the round to just see her work home over the top of them. Really good effort a few starts back where they sat back till about the 800 and then let her go, and she really let rip. So she's only just back into the draw too, so they probably don't want to fizz her up too much.
Okay, Darren, just from a punting viewpoint here, this is the last leg of the daily double. So we've got Leap to Fame into Queen Elida. This could be a record new low tab daily double figure coming up here.
Maybe it'll pay $1.15.
Maybe. Have you got to pass the post here?
Yeah, she's an amazing short course trotter. She's Australia's best trotting mare. She will be winning. Position and run, I think Alfred will just drive what's in front of him. Hatchback and Sugar and Spice, they're going to take a good shot at each other. He'll probably just pop in, and then as soon as they drop anchor, then he might zip round to the front.
Okay, well, let's take a look back at the replay of Adele. This is her most recent start a couple of weeks ago at Albion Park. She's one of 3 mares in this race, Queen Elida, Sugar and Spice and Adele. As Darren outlined, she's back in the draw now, Adele, but she is drawn a little awkwardly in gate 5 on the outside of Queen Elida, but maybe Nathan Dawson can just sort of keep an eye on Queen Elida all the way here and try and stay as close as he can. But she got picked off here just late by her stablemate, Funny Face. But would you say she's going as well now as what she was back during the Winter Carnival?
She's sort of been a little bit up and down. She was going really good into the Winter Carnival. She then just had a few hiccups in some of those main races. And then she come good again, and then she sort of tapered again. I think she's ready to really fire back up again. I think Jack Butler's got her sorted out. He sounds pretty confident in where he's got her now. I think this series she'll really progress.
All right, one horse that's going to be interesting here away from Queen Elida to look at, especially yard watchers, Plymouth Chubb. Because he's well named. He's had 2 runs back from a long layoff, and Peter Manning has gone on record stating he is on the big side. So he's going to get a pretty soft trip here, drawn the inside of the second row. Probably likely to stay on the inside. Cam Hart will take the drive, but he'll be one that's worth taking a close look at when they parade.
Yeah, he's a highly talented trotter, wonderful juvenile. I think this barrier is actually semi-perfect.
Yeah.
She's going to stalk Sugar and Spice, who I'm confident if she does everything right, she can hold Hatchback. Three fence maybe, or even leaders back. He's a knockout chance in this heat, without a doubt, if something does go wrong with Queen Elida. Interesting to see how he progresses through the series. He sort of come back racing. He was quite large, the Victorian boys tell me, and high talent. Think he'll make the final.
Yeah. His first up run was excellent. Probably a little playing last time out.
Maybe the second up syndrome caught him there. Darren, who are you selecting, and what are the place hopes here?
Yeah, I've got Queen Elida on top. I think she's just too good. Adele, like I said, I think if they sit back with her and not engage early, she's a really good chance of running on over the top. And Hatchback, he should be thereabouts. He's got the quality, and Plymouth Chubb with that really soft trip. And yeah, I think he should be firing into the finishing placings there at some point.
All right, I'm going 4815, and Ryan, you're coming up with 4185. So we're reading from the same hymn book there for Heat 2 for the Trotters there on Friday night. Round 1, Heat 3 for the Trotters, and this is the heat that features the series favourite and the defending champ, Just Believe. This is his 3rd straight Inter Dominion series. He was placed 2 years ago in Sydney, won the series last year in his home state of Victoria. Here he is to defend his title, and lo and behold, he's got barrier 1, so that means he is going to be at unbackable odds. So we're really focused on the other chances here as far as the exotics are concerned, Darren, but it just looks a clear case that he'll lead and win this heat.
Yeah, it's all set up for him. Perfect gate. He's got up here okay. He's travelled well. We know he's been over to Scandinavia, so travel shouldn't be a concern with him. His first up run was super. Here he is. It's all in his favour, and yeah, I think the Candyman can just do whatever the Candyman wants.
All right. Did he surprise you with the way he went about dismantling Queen Elida and Bendigo first up?
They ran a track record. Absolutely, it sort of shocked me that he was that far forward off his big winter campaign to Sweden. promising signs.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's going to start a clear favourite.
Funny Face is a locally trained mare by Jack and Tara Butler. She's low flying. Let's have a look at her, claiming her golden ticket to the Inter Dominion with her victory last time out. So this is the replay we saw earlier. That's her on the back of her stablemate Adele. And she's quite a lethal mare, Darren, in the sense that she can follow very good speed, and she was probably in a long way out here because she just got dragged right into the race at the perfect time and basically just peeled off the back of Adele and had that closing shot. So she goes into this series full of confidence, and she's not without a place hope here.
No, I think she's a really good place hope, and just following speed is her bread and butter, and you saw there in that replay, Pete was able to angle her to the outside. As soon as he got to the outside, the deafening hood come and she found a length sort of straight away. So just where he can get her into the run, you take into account here too, Pete had he and Chantel's own horse, Gus. He's opted for Funny Face, so I think we can take a good lead out of that about how he thinks she can progress through this series. So, yeah, I think she's a really good place hope. Bullion Harry, he's a bit of an interesting one. He does have good early speed. He doesn't have the speed to get across, I don't think, but where he then positions up, he probably has to sit parked outside Just Believe, which will give Funny Face an ideal trip.
All right. It looks wide away from Just Believe, Ryan. So as far as trying to sort out the exotics here, it's not easy. And like Plymouth Chubb in that previous heat, Maori Law, he's another one that you're going to have a good look at in the yard because, he's 2 runs back off being retired, so he's probably still carrying some excess condition, but he draws to get that favourable trip behind Just Believe.
He draws perfectly.
Yeah.
I think he's an absolute lock to run second here. And Majestic Harry, I think, will sort of grab up at the start and take that 3-peg spot. And I think that's highly likely to be your in-order trifecta.
All right, so you're going 1 to beat 8.
Absolutely.
All right, 1, 8, 2, 3, in fact. So there you go, 1, 8, 2, 3. Darren, you're coming up with Just Believe to beat Bullion Harry?
Yeah, I think Bullion Harry can get across there, and I think like that then gives Funny Face the run. I'm just a little bit against Maori Law, so I think we need to see him again, and need to see him off travelling up here as well. He's been around down in Victoria a couple of runs, trip up, just what impact that actually has.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Initially, you look at Just Believe and you think, who's drawn directly behind him? Maori Law, and then you're just not sure where he's at. So he's going to be a close watch there on Friday night when he parades, just to see what sort of condition he is in. But I'm going 1, 4, 3 and 7. Bullion Harry, as Darren outlined, he's got gate speed, so we'll go forward. Funny Face, a mare in good form. And Gus, I'm putting him in as a bit of a blowout chance. That trial that he delivered, and I know trials are trials, races are races, but he was breathtaking in that trial, beating a pacer and beating it easily.
And ran really good time. Yeah. Visually, the time, it all stacked up. It's a big ask for this guy, and I really hope he furnishes well out of this series. He doesn't get into his wayward sort of tendencies that we've seen of him, because he's only had 12 starts. Here we are seeing Gus with 12 starts take on a horse that's been in the elite lot. So, he's in the deep end, that's for sure.
Yeah, it looks too hard, but just off the back of that trial, I'll give him a blowout chance to run in the top 4 there. That's Gus. So that is round 1, heat 3 for the Trotters. Let's go now to our drivers that are competing on Friday night. Nathan Dawson, the leading driver in the state, in the country. He's got a good book of drives, so too Adam Sanderson. Star driver Nathan Dawson has a number of drives during ID23, and the first round action gets underway Friday night, and he's with us now. Nathan, appreciate the time.
Good to be here, Chris.
We'll get to these heats in just a moment. Firstly, race 1, Frankie Ferocious. This looks a really good a race for him, given how he performed last week.
Yeah, he's going really well of late. And he's come up with a pretty nice draw, but it's a little speed to our inside, but he's pretty quick off the arm, so we'll send him forward and see where we end up. Okay, over the mile, he can run really fast time, but that run last week, driven off speed, gee, he attacked the line well. Yeah, he did. Over the 21, he can get a little bit keen and bring himself undone, but over the mile, he can run it hard, and it really suits him. Okay, it is a deep race though. There's a number of informed horses here. Yeah, it is. It's a handy race. All the horses there are coming off, pretty good runs. So hopefully we can get across to the front and he'll take some running down.
Okay, let's talk about ID23. First series since 2009, the first since 2001 at Albion Park. First and foremost, as the leading driver in the country, are you excited about the series?
Yeah, I am. It's going to be the first time that I've been a part of it. So I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully we can, get ourselves a spot in the final.
All right, let's talk about this first heat. This is a heat over the mile, so all heats on the opening night over the mile. Uptown Beach Girl, one of two mares contesting this series. She's drawn out in 6. What were your first thoughts about the draw?
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with the draw. I thought if she drew good and, could get it pretty handy, she'd actually, run a good race. But from out there, we're most likely just going to drive for some luck and, see if we can pick up some points.
Okay, you're sandwiched in between the two favourites. Future Assured to your inside, Rock and Roll Do to your outside. There's going to be a bit of power early, isn't there?
Yeah, there will. There'll be some good speed on, and if I probably drew underneath Future Assured, I'll probably go forward. But being outside him, I don't think I'll be able to get across. So, we'll just drive a little bit conservative this week.
Okay, the 4 runs in the fortnight. Will that suit Uptown Beach Girl?
Yeah, she's a big gross mare. I don't think it'll worry her at all. So, if she can come up with a good draw and keep getting along the fence, she'll get some points along the way.
Okay, as I said, the first round of heats are over the mile, then we build up. The longer the better for her, or do you think she's prime for the mile trips?
I reckon miles probably. If I had a preference, I'd take that. But she can definitely run the trip as well.
Okay, well that's Uptown Beach Girl there in the first heat, and she is in very good form, but just drawn a little awkwardly. What about race 4, Captain Shuffles? He comes up with a good gate 2. He's a last start winner. How do you think his chances look here?
Yeah, I think it's a really good draw for him. It's probably a shame that Classy Washington's inside us. He's in good form at the moment, so I don't know if we've got the speed to get over, but we'll have a little look and, we'll drive him pretty positive.
Drawn side by side, it's tough, isn't it, when, horses possess similar type gate speed?
Yeah, it is. It's always better to have, 2 gaps between you or something like that, but we'll have a little look. I'm not even too worried about having to sit in the chair over the mile. He's going pretty well at the moment.
Okay, how did you grade that last start victory? He was very strong. Some were saying he was knocking off towards the line. How did you sort of assess the performance?
Yeah, he's just getting into a little bit of a habit, of knocking off at the line. He's not actually all out. He's just it's more of a habit he's gotten into. So if there's something there racing him, he keeps going. But I'm pretty happy with the way he's coming along.
Okay, the time was excellent in that race.
Yeah, it was. You can't go much quicker. It's probably one of the quicker ones of the night. So it just proves how good he's going.
Is this his best opportunity? The fact that he's got a good draw and it's a mile, is this his best opportunity to gain maximum points?
I think so. He does have very good high speed as well, so that's going to help him along the way. So, to be honest, I think if he gets good trips in all the heats, he's going to be running on to get some points.
The Victorian, Better Eclipse, is he the obvious threat here?
Yeah, he is, and obviously Classy Washington. I really like him as a horse, so I reckon they'll be the ones fighting it out, and hopefully we can get over them.
All right, well that's Captain Shuffles there in race number 4, which is heat number 2 for the Pacers. What about Deus Ex in race 5? This is heat 3. You've got to contend with Leap to Fame, but the draw seems ideal on paper. Gate 2, looks like you've got the speed to head off Make Mine Memphis, drawn to your inside, so that gives him every opportunity to run top 3.
Yeah, it does. He's going really well, and his form shows that. So he's come up with a good draw for him, and he's got that early speed, as you said. So if we can get over and then let Leap to Fame go, we should be getting some good points.
Okay. How do you assess the gate speed, in particular those out wide? Can't Find a Better Man's first up, and he's drawn in 6. Black Sedan's track record holder in 7. Do you expect them to sort of blast off the arm early?
Oh, they might blast, but I don't think they're going to get too far. I think Leap to Fame's getting out pretty good at the moment, so he's really the only one that I'll be looking to let go. If I have to hold up over the mile, I won't be too scared either.
His last couple of runs have been really good. In fact, this campaign he's been a really good Deus Ex, so there's every chance that he can earn good points here.
Yeah, that's right. And it's his ideal trip over the mile, so we'll make the most of that.
All right, well, that is Deus Ex there in race 5. What about in race 6? This is heat 4. Hot and Treacherous. Of all your drives, so you've got Uptown Beach Girl, you've got Deus Ex, and you've got Captain Shuffles. Is Hot and Treacherous your main drive?
I think so. He's probably the one who's got the class and, big race experience. So he's probably the main one that we're looking, they're hoping to get through. But it's a little bit awkward in the draw we've come up with, so we just have to hope for a bit of luck.
What do we make of that last start performance? He was at the rear of the field. That was the Queensland Cup. He got left parked out there. They went track record time. How do we sort of gauge that performance?
Yeah, it's probably just unlucky the way we ended up. We had to go early and couldn't get anywhere, so we got stuck outside him. And he was entitled to stop the way he did, any horse would, in that type of trip. So I wouldn't really take too much out of it.
All right, this is a fascinating heat for a number of reasons. Swayze is the clear favourite. He's unbeaten for Jason Grimson. He's a dual Grand Circuit winner, Black's a fake, and last start in the New Zealand Cup. He was coming, he wasn't coming, he was coming, he wasn't coming. Here he is lining up. Probably not his preferred trip, the mile, and he's got a stack of speed to his outside, you being one of them, Hot and Treacherous. Mr. McLaren, turn it up. How does this race sort of shake out in the first 200 metres?
Yeah, I think Swayze probably gets shuffled back a little bit and then put into it at some stage, but I dare say Mr. McLaren and Turn It Up will be the ones getting over the fence first, and then just seeing what they're going to do from there.
Do you want to try and get in front of Swayze if possible early?
Yeah, if possible, if I could clear him, would make life a lot easier. Then I'd be up pretty handy. So over the mile, I wouldn't be too scared, having a good look.
All right, well, that's a fascinating heat, that one there for the Pacers. We return to the Trotters, Heat 2, Adele. Beaten last time out behind her stablemate, Funny Face. Where is she now compared to Winter Carnival time?
I actually was pretty happy with the last run. She did all the work, and Funny Face, she's got the beautiful trip, and just got it late. So I reckon she's going a lot better than what the form looks, and I'm pretty confident she's back to her best. Okay,
so she's back in the draw as well. So you're drawn outside of Queen Elida, so where do you want to be early here?
It's only a small field, and I think probably her speed's, the best attribute she has. So if we can just get across there and, find a pretty handy spot and, dictate the race, I'll be pretty happy with, turn it into a sprint home.
Do you give yourself any chance of beating the favourite, Queen Elida?
If she's on the A game, I think she can go with it. Whether if the draws are changed, it's probably be more of a benefit for me.
Okay, but you're happy with the way she's going right now?
Yeah, I am. I actually believe she's going better than what she looks, and I'm pretty excited to go through the heats with her.
All right, excellent. Race 9 on Saturday, or on Friday night, I should say. Orchid Stride, second up for Team Grimsey. Looked like she just choked off there last week. What are you expecting here on Friday night?
Yeah, I really like the mare and think she can do quite a good job up here in Queensland. So I won't be taking too much out of last week. Things didn't look real good for her, but I'm pretty confident going forward tomorrow.
Okay. And the last race, Bronski Delight, you had the choice of several drives. Was it an easy choice in the end to make?
I was tossing up between, the new one of Graham's, Bronski, but she's got the form on the board. I was pretty impressed with what she did last start, so I had to go with her. Yeah,
she went good time last start, and she looked like she won well. I know it was sort of set up, but the way she finished off was pleasing.
Yeah, things played out really nice for her, but she still had to do it, and she proved that she could. So if we can get a good trip, there's no reason she can't do it again. Yeah,
and that's crucial, isn't it? You've got to get a good trip because Gate 6 is sticky.
Yeah, it is. Her best asset's probably her finishing speed. So it's pretty ideal if she has to get a good trip.
All right, this is night 1 of ID23. Which driver are you looking forward to most, or you're just looking forward to being part of ID23?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about all of them. The more I can get into the final, the better. So, hopefully we can get them all in and get plenty of points on the board.
All right, awesome. We'll see you trackside.
Thanks, Chris.
Adam Sanderson now joins us to go through his drives on ID23 opening night, and he's in the hot seat now. Adam, appreciate the time.
No worries, Chris.
Are you excited about competing in ID23?
Oh, look, you got to be. It's it's not often you get to drive in a series like this, so you've got to be excited.
All right, well, let's start with race 2. Heat 1 for the Trotters. Van Sank is your drive. He's second up. Were you really pleased with the way he hit the line first up?
Yeah, no, I was really stoked with his run. He's he set it a long way back, and they run pretty solid sectionals off the front, and his own sectionals the last half were probably as quick as he can go. So upwards and forwards for him.
Okay, so gate 6 here on Friday night. Are you likely to drift back given what's drawn on your inside?
Yeah, it's a sticky draw, so we'll just go back, take our medicine, and hopefully we can lob into a place and get some points.
So you're hoping the Victorians overdo it, Mufasa, Metro, Olivici, all the talks about them for this heat. So if they overdo it, hopefully Van Sank gets over the top.
Yeah, pretty much that's what we need. Mufasa Metro's got pretty good gate speed, and he was terrific last start, so he looks the one to beat. And as you say, we just need a bit of tempo.
Okay, how do you think Van Sank will cope with the series, the 4 runs in the fortnight?
Probably not ideal for him. He's just an out-and-out miler. That's his go-to. So if we sort of just drive him quietly and hopefully we can get through it. And he's always a chance just with his sheer speed and a soft run.
All right, well, fingers crossed he does well, Van Sank. Race 3, this is Heat 1 for the Pacers. I Cast No Shadow. He's the defending champ. He won the series last year in Melbourne. That is, in fact, his last win. What have you made of the 3 runs so far this campaign?
Yeah, he sort of, he built sort of nicely to his last start, and we sort of drove him quite aggressive just to see, where he's at, and he didn't respond too well to that. So he'll have to be driven quiet, and he's probably even an outside chance even to make the final the way he's going.
Okay, there's a lot of power drawn to your outside here. The 2 favourites, Future Assured Gate 5, Rock and Roll Do out in Gate 7. So ideally, where do you want to be early here with I Cast No Shadow?
The sort of main dangers are on the outside, so they'll work for it at some stage. So if we can just slide across and settle handy, he might be a top 5 chance.
Okay, but he needs to lift on this last start.
Yeah, no, he definitely has to. The gas tank's pretty near and empty at the stage, I think.
Okay, so he needs a little bit of luck there. I Cast No Shadow. What about in race number 5? This is Heat 3 for the Pacers. Speak the Truth. Obviously, you've got to contend with Leap to Fame here, and you've clashed with him multiple times previously. He goes into this series fresh, Adam, Speak the Truth. He had a little workout last week. What was the takeaway from the workout at the track?
Yeah, no, terrific workout. He just worked by himself and worked a good, solid last mile, and his heart was good, and he felt good. So it's always, an unknown factor going to a series like this fresh, but hopefully we're just building at the right time, and it's a shame we sort of run into Leap to Fame in the first night, but we're going to clash with them eventually, so we'll take our medicine. Yeah,
you've said previously with Speak the Truth, he's the type of horse, once he rolls out on race day, whether he's first up, 6th up, or whatever it is, he's there to race. So you're expecting a forward showing here? Yeah,
he definitely knows when race day is, and he always seems to race good fresh. So hopefully, that run on Saturday just topped him off, and I'm sure no matter how the race pans out, he's always going to give 100% anyway.
So in many ways, this could be a favourable draw, given that he is fresh up. There looks to be a heap of early speed there off that front line, so the harder the better for you early, and he can be strong late.
Yeah, I think so. If they go solid early, he's definitely going to be the one finishing as good as any at the finish.
Surely they have to go hard early. You look at that front line, whether they're drawn in close or out wide, there's got to be some early tempo.
Yeah, you'd think so. Most people want to be sort of getting there before Leap to Fame comes and either handing up or making him do a bit of work. So we'll just be playing our area at the back, and hopefully, as I say, we need a solid tempo, and he'll be finishing off.
But he'll keep improving throughout the series, won't he?
Yeah, for sure. You look at his runs throughout the winter. He never took a backward step, and had some pretty hard runs. So he seems to thrive on good hard racing.
So Leap to Fame's the horse to beat in this heat. Is he the horse to beat in your eyes for the whole series?
I think it comes down to draws. Swayze's a world beater at the moment. He beat him fair and square, and last time they sort of clashed. So I think everyone's sort of downplaying just because he had that sort of hiccup, when he come back. So it's going to be interesting, but I think it comes down to draws. I don't think either can sit outside each other and beat them. So it's just going to be a war, and hopefully we're sitting on the back one and we can get over top of both of them.
As a proud Kiwi, were you disappointed that Swayze was able to win your race with the New Zealand Cup?
Oh no, it was sort of one of those things. You never like seeing the Aussies win, but it's probably unfortunate that it was. Oh, it's probably fortunate for them. They struck a pretty ordinary New Zealand Cup.
What about Cosimo? What can you tell us about this horse? Race 6, it's Heat 4 of the Pacing Series. First look at Albion Park, drawn 2 off the second row, and you're up against Swayze. You're drawn directly behind Swayze. Can he measure up here, Cosimo?
His form's, not too bad in Victoria. He's sort of finished a couple of placings behind a few handy types. He's going to have to step up to compete against these, but he looks like a horse that follows speed good, and Friday he looks like it actually the draw sets up that he will end up getting a good run.
Okay, you've got options from that draw. You can either go straight to the pegs or follow through and maintain that one wide position, so you can just play that by ear?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously turn up's off the front, so he crosses anything, and what he does after that, I would have thought a mile, he might be sort of keen to stretch a few out, so we'll just have to play it by ear.
Okay, race 9, Uga Chaka. This is your drive. You were with him last week. Was it probably a bit harsh to say he was a little disappointing last week?
No, he was terrible. By his standards, he was shocking. He's been racing terrific, and hopefully it was just a bad night, because before that his runs had been terrific. Yeah, you gave him a peach last week. You were following up nicely in that 3 wide line, but he just got left flat-footed there at the 400. Yeah, it was sort of a weird run. He never felt good at all, and I thought he was going to drop out at the 400, and then he got going up the straight again, which was very it was a very puzzling run. So hopefully we just put it down to a bad night, and he can produce his best again. All right. And what about this last race on Friday night? Bonnie's Dance. She's drawn gate 9, 2 off the second row. She's close. She's been placed the last 4. Yeah, she's racing good. It's quite an even field, so she relies on luck, and if she can get there, she'll be finishing off as good as any. All right. Which drive are you most looking forward to? Obviously, Speak the Truth. We've got to contend with Larry, tomorrow night. But going through the series, he looks like my main chance. Awesome. Hey, Adam, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside. No worries. Thanks, mate.
It's a big 10-race program for night 1 of ID23, but it's time now to find our best bets for this card. Darren, I'll come to you firstly. What have you marked as your best bet on Friday night?
Yeah, I'm striking early. I think Frankie Ferocious, he's a top quality 3-year-old, can get to the front here. He's got good times against his name, and I think Nathan Dawson, just press the button early, get to the front, catch me if you can. They won't be able to. All
right, so race 1, number 4, big spend for you with the quaddie, $3. So Leap to Fame, and then you've got 3 there in that second leg. So 1, 2 and 5. Yeah,
just going, I think, being able to spend only $3, I think we can just work around Swayze. Like we said, if he is going to be vulnerable in this series, it's this round. So, and the other 2 sort of should just be getting it done.
All right, so the same quaddie for you, Ryan, there. So a big spend of $3. Your best bets?
Let's start in Trotters Heat, the opening round of the contest. Race 2, number 1, Mufasa Metro for John Justice to lead and run them a merry dance. And then I'm really keen, race 9, number 7, Big Skewy. This guy was off the charts last start when bumping into Classy Washington. They went round in 52 for the 2100. He just failed. There's no Classy Washington here tonight. Let him loose, Matty.
Okay, my best bet, multi-action. There's so many short price favourites spread across this 10-race program. You can pick and choose different races, multi them up, and you should be able to come out in front. As far as the quaddie is concerned, I'm just going to steer around Swayze. I'll take him on here for the sake of $1. I'll go Leap to Fame, Turn It Up, Queen Elida, and Just Believe. So it looks like it is going to be a very skinny quaddie dividend coming up on Friday night. Don't forget the tab market specials, races 1 through to 6, bonus bet back up to $50 if your horse runs second across all nights of ID23. First 4 jackpots on all of the Inter Dominion heats as well. So those projected pools are $50,000. So keep that in mind. And given that we've got so many short price favourites, it might be a good option to play as well. The first 4 standing out, the favourites to win. Guys, it's been a pleasure. This is night 1. We'll see you both trackside Friday night.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And I'm a bit like Plymouth Chubb. Hopefully I'll lose a bit of condition through the series.
Ryan, we'll see you trackside.
Fantastic.
That's a hard act to follow. First of 10 getting underway at 5:48.